Hello and welcome to the Nothing Happened podcast, probably the best way to enjoy theories, discussions, and analysis around One Piece without the need to stare at a screen. Actually, today is a very special podcast since we have the one, the only Strawhat Lucas. How about you say hello to everyone, Lucas?
Hello, it is I, Strawhat Lucas Captain of the Last Ark, here today with three men I respect a lot. Actually, let me correct that. Two men I respect a lot and Cube. But yeah, I'm very excited to be here today, guys, and very excited to cook with you boys.
Man, I like how Andilex was so nervous that we got you on here that he couldn't finish the sentence properly.
I know, yeah. I'm still in awe. Like his presence, the Conqueror's hockey is just too much for me to handle.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. So it's great to have you here today, Lucas. For the listeners, today we're just going to be Starknightandilex, KubeOfTheRedSea, me and our guest Lucas, to good old Kusoland, catch the cold, and is probably sweating in his bed down there in New Zealand. So bear with us, but I think we have a very cool guest, so that should be fine.
Guys, don't worry about Kusoland. We checked with our doctor from Drum Island, Dr. Correa. There's no white spot. It ain't sapphire. So we're all good.
Wow.
He has the I can't make it to the podcast disease.
Exactly.
Yeah, he probably has, yeah.
But yeah, how is everyone? Are y'all doing good? Y'all had your breakfast? Y'all had your dinner? You're all different parts of the world right now.
Man, I nobody cares, but I just did a workout like an hour ago. My legs they feel like they are not existent. So I just slurped some protein shake and I feel very weak right now. Also, the new chapter dropped. So yeah, we'll have to do a reaction later on. What about you guys?
I did, because I've been losing weight lately and stuff, and I did some push-ups last night for the first time in a long time. I've mostly been focusing on cardio. My chest is killing me right now. So I feel that pain, Mark. But I'm doing pretty good. Good.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm very excited for I haven't read the chapter that came out yet, so I'm very excited for that, but also I'm very excited for our discussion, It'll be a very fun puddle talk about,
So what is it that we want to talk about first? Like your homework you gave us last week, or do we pick up the...
Let's pick up on the flooding and then we'll switch to the homework.
All right.
We last week, we were talking about, just a reminder for everyone that's here, we were talking about the flood last week since Vega Punk mentioned a flood, but sadly we haven't heard what Lucas thinks. So Lucas, are you ready for it? As in, are you ready for the flood?
I am,
where do you,
my man.
Where do you think the safest place to avoid the flood would be? All right, or different places. Now you go.
Yeah.
Go.
So I am ready for the flood. The only hang up I have about the flood right now is when Vegapunk said, I don't even know enough about him. I can't tell if he's talking about Nika or Emu. And I really think that it's going to be Nika that causes the flood. I think it's a necessary thing that has to happen to turn the world upside down, like we know Luffy is most likely going to do. So I really can't wait to figure out if it is Nika or if it's Emu doing it, because we didn't see, like for the Emu side of things, Emu does destroy islands, and that causes the sea levels to rise. So it's almost like they are already starting the flood. But my idea with it is that it's a prophecy, and Emu knew the prophecy, and so did Joy Boy. And Emu's trying to force himself to be the one that causes the flood when it's not him, kind of thing.
I see. Okay.
And to answer your question, where the safest place to be, my bet is on Water 7, actually. It has been Iceberg's lifelong goal to make that a city that floats on top of the water so it no longer floods. So, I trust Tom's Apprentice to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's a smart pick, actually. So you think the flood is nothing that the world government itself brings forth, but it's something that's unavoidable?
Yeah, I think, because in my honest opinion, I am of the belief and mindset that eventually the sea levels will be drained. I think Emu knew the flood was coming from the beginning since the Void Century, and that's why they built the Red Line. And we know that Fishman Island is going to be destroyed. And and that Luffy will be the one to do it. And everyone in the theory community I know has accepted this fact almost that like when Luffy destroys the red line, that's what will destroy Fishman Island. And I think that's true as well, but I think it will also cause some kind of effect where the water kind of dissipates, if that makes sense. So like he has to flood the world to be able to destroy the red line, which will help bring the water levels back down. I said earlier to the homie Dindin Kushi that it's like it's like in Skypiea, right? Luffy he could not stop Inaru from destroying the land of Skypiea, or the Sky Island. What's it called? Oh my goodness, it's on the tip of my tongue. The main island where Konis and Pagai and all of them live.
Yeah, Angel Beach.
He cannot stop Inaru.
Or whatever
Angel Beach,
called.
thank you very much. Yeah. He could not stop Inaru from doing that. But that didn't matter because they were able to get everyone off of it. And if Skypiea is like a microcosm of the entire story, right, then it's going to reflect that Luffy cannot stop the flood, but he knows what to do about it. He allows it to happen, but he'll know what to do with everybody once they're displaced. So like I said, I think it's necessary to happen. And I think it's a whole part of Joy Boy's original plan and what will become Luffy's plan to set the world right.
So, since you mentioned Fishman Island, I think it still fits to the topic, but I'm not sure if I have a wrong picture in my head right now. I'm unable to look it up at the moment, but in that vision that Madame Charlie has, right? She sees the silhouette with a straw hat, and is the background burning?
Yep.
It is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know
yes.
I heard that.
So that's something probably to consider. I mean, yes, the inside of Fishman Island, where there's no water, could probably burn, right? But if we consider that it's getting destroyed, that would mean like the bubble itself would burst as well. So how could there be like fire in the first place?
Yeah. Interesting. That's why for me it has to basically, I think it's whatever area it is, it could be the red line, the effect of the red line, since it's, through the Eve tree you're connected with the bubble. I think is whatever happens to red line happens to Fishman Island.
So yeah, or what about this? Fishman Island is right underneath the red line in this kind of cave, so to say, right? And there's the entrances left and right of the red line, if I understand that right. Can someone confirm this? We have this tunnel-like structure, and inside this, underneath the red line, there's the Fishman Island, right? Yeah.
Well, basically the roots of the Eve tree that goes from the red line up to the highest point of Fishman Island.
Yeah. So if there's on this scheme we see like where you see the whole red line and you see this tunnel, what happens if for some reason the entrances get blocked off from both sides completely? Would that drain the complete water in there?
I don't know.
Like drain the water underneath the red line?
Yeah, like where
like
Fishman Island
tunnel?
is. Yeah.
Well, the whole concept of it dissipating the water when he destroys the red line is like, have you ever dropped ice cubes? Like it's a dumb analogy, but have you ever dropped ice cubes into like a glass of water? And immediately the water starts to rise. And if a giant mass has been placed into the middle of the world around the entire thing, obviously like the water is going to rise. So I like the idea of that. Like once he breaks it, it's not going to be like Rebel or anything that falls into Fishman Island. It's just this massive gush of water rushing through it.
Yeah, there wouldn't be fire. I feel like all that fire could just be from the buildings in Fishman Island. And then
because they are in that bubble.
Yeah.
Like maybe the rocks can go through the bubble without breaking it, and that'll cause fires before the bubble pops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then again, there's one thing where I just remember this scene in Wano that always bothers me. I think it was shown more deeper in the anime, but it's not really anime because it did happen in the manga, but the manga wasn't clear. The Prometheus, who was a cloud of fire, went underwater to pick up Big Mom. So I don't want to wondering if let's say that's Fishman Island. What if it's not the fire we think it is? Could be more connected to the Mother Flame or even the Mera. You know, something that makes it, you know, unnatural for water to be. Because I do think that if, you know, you're surrounded by water, maybe someone who's able to, you know, like Luffy underwater with the Red Hawk, would able to, you know, a bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
So you think destroying Fishman Island means that it's gone and it's not going to be anything new? Like, you don't think like that could just also mean like it's going to become a new city? Like, you know, just think Fishman Island sounds kind of weird. Like, was that name like provided by the fishmen, or was it by like the people on the surface? Like, who named it Fishman Island?
Well,
like maybe it'll be called something else.
It almost sounds derogatory when you think about it in that aspect, that like they called it Fishman Island so that the fishmen knew that that is the place that they belong, down there underneath the sea. In Marth, you said it, you got my gears spinning right now when you said that water rushing underneath and like rushing through Fishman Island, because that could be what the Noah is for, so they can get on that ark and catch that initial rush of the wave and make it out of Fishman Island safely before it is destroyed.
Well, actually, I really think the ark is really for like basically the people of the planet.
You think it's big enough though? I don't know if it's big enough.
It's massive.
Oh,
I mean,
it's gigantic, dude.
It's massive.
It probably really cannot hold the entire population of the entire world. But like, just imagine. I already said this in my mega theory. Just imagine that the fishmen come to rescue from the deeps of the ocean with a gigantic ark pulled by sea kings, and they rescue all the inhabitants of all the islands and like give them safe spaces on the ark until the flood is over. Like, that would ultimately lead to the stop of hate against the fishmen, and people would accept them and probably like
it would
let
help
them live on the surface without like any more hatred.
Yeah, it would help them unite the people as well. Like it puts everybody in the same place to see the actions that are taking place in front of them.
I would always, like, when I'm picturing like how Noah would be used, I always just picture the Sea Kings like dragging it out, kind of like how like the reindeer, the Santa's sleigh, but it'll be the Sea Kings,
Yeah,
and the sleigh is the Noah. That's how I was picturing it, and they would just move it out with, you know, Poseidon, probably like Poseidon like on. I don't know.
I always think of Sodom and Gomorrah from the Frankie family and how they pulled their ship.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. And do you think Shirahoshi will be like on the, I think you call it the mast, you know, like how it's tradition or a lot of cliche, like on the ship on the mast they have like, or the bow, whatever you call it, they have a mermaid on there. You think Shirahoshi will
like
be
a
on there but guiding the Sea Kings, like she has to.
My God, yo,
dude,
this is
Luffy
why
kind of does
this,
it.
This
Luffy
is why
kind of
you
does
are
that
crazy,
already.
Andy. This is why you are crazy. No one thinks of that, but that actually makes sense. It does.
It makes so much sense
saw
because it's
Luffy
something Luffy would do. She'd be like, I don't want to sit on the main deck. And he's like, well, you got to be here then. And like tie her to the mast. Like that is
no, not the mast.
Luffy coded.
I think Andy really means like the figurine that usually is in the front of the ship.
Yeah, it's called a masthead.
That's called mast in English?
Master bow.
Yeah.
It's one of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought in German the mast literally is like the big thing where the sails are attached to in the middle.
Oh, you right.
But I understand what you mean. But if you think about it, you guys are just describing Dora Jackson. It's a mermaid.
Yeah.
The seagull in front of the ship is a mermaid on the Dora Jackson.
I mentioned how it's like a cliche thing. Like a lot of pirate ships do it.
It's called the bowsprit.
There's a real mermaid.
Yeah, but I really like that. Like, imagine Shirahoshi sitting like on Luffy's normal place, because Luffy is usually the one who sits on the figurehead of the ship, right? But instead, she's sitting there and like guiding or controlling the Sea Kings, telling them what to do.
Yeah, she's like, I'm grown now. This is my ship, or I'm guiding the people. These are my people, like all the fishermen.
Yeah, I'm not a crybaby anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna jump in on for the Noah. Part of me, I've always wondered if the Noah was the ship mentioned in the Bing Sake song. You know, when they talk about taking my ship and my flag with my skull, describing, you know, obviously a pirate ship. I always wondered if in the Bing Sake, maybe the Noah might be that ship that they were referring to. With
what we've been saying about like the Noah housing the people of the world, that could be what the line gather up all of the crew means.
As well.
Like it's gathering up the people of the world. I think you're onto something there, Cube.
You guys,
go ahead.
So, no, finish. I'll go when you're done. And
Cube I was just agreeing that I think Cube is right. I think maybe the ship in Bing Sake could be referring to the Noah.
Okay.
Now, I have a question I have to ask you. do you guys think that Zoro's family storyline, if we get more in the future, will connect back to the origin of the Noah? Because I always find it very interesting that one of the most famous English-speaking song for boat is "Row, row, row your boat, dancing down the stream," and literally Zoro's last name is Roro Noah.
Yeah, I really love
I
that
love
theory
that.
of yours.
Oh my god, I love
You
that.
just blew
I
Andy's
love
mind.
it.
I
I
just
heard
blew
this before,
Andy's
but I
mind.
forgot it. But
No,
I
no.
love this. Oh
Like
my
when I
god.
heard that the first time, I was mind boggled. Like I'm so sold on this, and I'm so glad that he decided to like talk about this here. Because this is just insane. Row, Noah. You see, it finally makes sense why Zoro is like lifting all these fucking weights the entire time like a madman. Because he needs to be able to paddle all these huge things.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
Well,
so-
I didn't think that until you said that, Cube. Like,
No,
But
I
yes,
always analyze the nickname. In Zoro think of it. Zoro is the original of the 5. So other than Luffy, where they immediately gave his last name. All of them, Sanji, we waited for a very long time. We don't know about Nami. We don't know about Usopp. But we know Zoro's, which is interesting.
And I really liked it because I was always still like thinking about who this mysterious clan could be that the Sea Kings are talking about. Where when they say who could we bring the Noah to, right? But what if it's literally the people of Zoro's family, and they are looking for them because they were shipwrights, like you said earlier.
But wouldn't it almost make more sense if it was a member of Frankie's family? If we were going to tie it to one of the
so yeah,
Strawhats?
we don't know who built the Noah yet, right? We have no idea, but it's made out of the Eve wood, Adam wood or Eve wood or something, right? Is it?
No. I don't think we ever got what type of wood it was. Because we know about the Adam wood because of the Sunny. Because Frankie explained all the details of it. But yes, you're right. Neptune they talk about Adam wood. You're right. I'm sorry. I just remembered. Fisherman Island. Usopp asked questions about the Adam wood.
So,
You're right.
wait. So if they have to repair it and they really talked about Adam wood, that would mean that they Sea Kings definitely have to bring the Noah towards Elbaf if we assume that the tree there is the one they call the Adam tree.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would need new wood from it, right?
You know, now I think about it. What if that ship was also used by Lily for the poneglyphs? Because there would be some of them that they would have to travel to one island unless, they... Because I do like that it's an ability, but it could make sense that they just move in one location, but they had something else. Like maybe Zunisha and the Noah had different poneglyphs. That could explain why, certain
And
places like...
I agree. And if you think further, like if they really bring the Noah to Elbaf, right? That would only make sense because that ship is so ginormous. Who else could like build something like that if not giants?
Yeah.
Speaking of giants and big ships and how they go hand in hand, what I wanted to bring up earlier about the Noah is we were talking about how could it fit everyone like in the whole world. I just thought it was meant for the fishermen, people underwater. Like I would always think too, like, can all the people in the world fit in it? But like, there's no way it's that big. But if it really is, if it's possible, I think there is a way for it to fit everyone.
But anyway, why would fishermen need a fucking boat?
Yeah, exactly. They really don't need it. That's why the point of it being for the humans makes so much sense. And with all this talk of Elbaf, I actually have a question for you guys. Do you think once we get to Elbaf, we'll see that it has some kind of flood proofing?
Some kind of what?
I
have something. Wait.
Sorry, go ahead. So go ahead, Andy.
What? Oh, yeah, I didn't get to finish, but I like what you said, Lucas. But yeah, like, would it be safe? I guess they want to like a sanitary, like a safe way to get to the surface to land or something that would require the ship. I guess worst case scenario, some of the fishermen could swim to the surface, but they'll be in the middle of nowhere. It's like trying to swim. Like it's really hard to swim in all that, isn't it? Like. You have to be someone as strong as really to swim in all that current and all that. Like, even if you're a fisherman too.
You're right. Like, there are currents underwater too. Even, especially if there's like flooding and tsunamis and all that. But still, I feel like fishermen could probably handle.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen evidence that Jinbei himself can like legitimately just throw currents.
That's Jinbei. That's are like 90% of the fishermen capable as Jinbei.
No, but because of how advanced their swimming is, I'm sure if they get sucked into a current, they know how to survive and get out of it safely.
So we do know that.
My point is,
excuse me.
I mean, we do know that the original fishmen were not exactly fishmen. They must most likely evolve to it, because the bubble. Like, I do understand the Noah discussion, but think about the bubble. Why do they need a big bubble all around them for their land? Unless 800 years ago, so some of the fishmen who lived underwater couldn't breathe that long underwater. You know, they just adapted to that environment.
So back to what I was talking about, the ship. There's two things that I wanted to mention that might actually make it work, because I want to be convinced that all the people on the planet could fit on the ship. I still don't know. I really don't think that's possible yet. It's not big enough. Maybe it is, but I feel there might be two ways for it to make that happen. One way is what if Luffy, Nika, uses their influence and stretches the ship to make it even longer so more people could fit in it. Second, the whole world. You know, you could make things bigger. We've seen Long Ring Long Land. Was that Nika's influence? Maybe it could even make the ship longer, like stretch it out. Another thing is, I don't know if there's a power in the world of One Piece that shrinks people, but you could just shrink everyone and more people could fit on the ship.
Why is so hung up on that topic if all the people...
Well, that's what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to say from the beginning, but people kept cutting me off. I was leading up to that. That was the main thing.
Can I just say, though, I love you right now, because stretching the Noah like it's Long Ring Long Land, I love that. That is amazing. Like, I need that to happen now.
You know, actually, and while Andy was talking, it made me think of, you know, like, where would the people been if they were not there before, or something like that, you know, that big ship. And I'm wondering if one of the closest place, because Fishman Island's close to the Red Line, being underneath it, so it's next to the Gate of Justice. What's the other side of the Gate of Justice? The other side of that huge whirlpool, a big hole under Enies Lobby. What if the original people came from that area, and one way to survive was to get on that big ship, and they found themselves Fishman Island? Because, I mean, there's a hole, right? What would happen if you fall through the hole in the ship? Maybe it would bring you up to Fishman Island or under the Red Line, maybe. Just a thought.
Well, I mean, the holes left by the Mother Flame, which, I mean, we assume that's what did Enies Lobby as well, or something equivalent to it. Like, we don't even know how cataclysmic it is at the bottom of that hole.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know if it's all the way down to bedrock and the water pressure is so tense from all of the water flowing into it that, like, you can't even reach into it. Like, it...
You see what I mean? And also, if you take into account, in between Fishman Island and the surface, we've seen those weird whirlpools where some of them just go sideways. Like it's a path, you know? Like it's Luffy Gear 5, Bellamy versus Luffy and Jaya. It's jumping everywhere. All those weird patterns. You know? It feels like something Nika would have done a long time ago, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was just a thought.
Influencing the world.
Yeah, I mean...
I would still love to hear you guys' opinion on that question about Elbaf, though, for sure. Like,
I couldn't hear what you said there. That's why I asked what you said.
Oh, okay. Is when they get to Elbaf, do you think that Elbaf will be flood-proofed, like we've seen with some of the other islands?
Well, I think eventually it has to be, because like these trees, these giant trees. They are very, very, very old, and I doubt that this flood happened just once. So I assume if they are still standing there, that means that they are able to withstand the flood, and that means, in a way, Elbaf is flood-proof because everyone can just flee up on the tree.
They technically could just keep climbing and climbing and climbing.
What if rebuilding the society around the tree as they climb?
Yeah. Just a thought on Lucas's question, right? For those who don't, for those who listen to the podcast, but also those who are here, just Google the Idusel tree from the Viking lores of the Nine Worlds, and you'll see what I mean. What if part of because we never saw where the Adam tree is, right? So it could be that they're just showing us one side of the island. What if the side of the Adam tree is closer to how the Idusel tree is? The Idusel tree is basically a tree of different levels. They live in different levels of the branches, up to the highest point where there's all the leaves. And I think like all 9 realms are connected to those the different levels of the tree. What if part of the Elbaf is connected to the Adam tree, and there's actually, you can live on the tree.
You're talking about Yggdrasil, right?
Yeah, Yggdrasil, yeah. The Yggdrasil, the tree, yes.
So, Cube, what if their version of like the 9 worlds that are going up the tree, right? Or how they could tell when Joy Boy would return. So they knew that like once they hit the 9th level of the tree, that the world would be at the point where Joy Boy is going to return and flood the world.
Yeah, it could be also that. We could also correlate that, you know how there's basically the concept of land, sea, and air with Kaido, but a lot of the different things. It could be that maybe the 9 worlds in this instance is maybe 9 races. 3 races of each, because there's 3 races of sky people. Because I keep telling people, Skypian and Birkin are same. They're just 2 different tribes, but I think they're the same. They're the same type of sky people. They were the same basically, just different sides.
I think it's getting a bit too complicated. Like if you want the listeners to understand, if you want the listeners to understand, you probably have to elaborate a bit more. What exactly Yggdrasil is, and what are the 9 levels that you mean, and all that, because otherwise it's a bit confusing, I think.
So basically, the Yggdrasil tree is the Yggdrasil tree is connected to Viking lore. With there are different myths, and what's interesting is it always talks about 9 realms, 9 worlds. What's interesting is when you look at the description of the 9 worlds, it does have a lot of similar description of different races or people, beings we see in One Piece, which is interesting, you know. And obviously, if people seen the giants from Elbaf, they do a lot have that Viking lore behind them. And so I was like wondering if, yeah, Lucas?
I was going to say, if you want, I have the world tree pulled up if you want me to like tell the listeners what the worlds are.
Yeah.
So the roots are Jotunheim, Niflheim, Helheim. Then the next layer is Vanaheim and Nidavellir. Then you have on the next land, which is like the earth, is Muspelheim, Midgard, and Alfheim. And then above that, on the 9th level, is Asgard.
Man, if there's an Asgard in One Piece, there's Moria has a move called something Asgard, right?
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think so. I know someone had a move like that. I don't remember if it's Moria or not, but yeah, there is a move that's named Asgard. So yeah, I was just thinking of the idea, and basically, when you look at the Yggdrasil tree, it's a tree that's basically in different levels, and every realm basically connects to that. So, you know, and since there's different races in One Piece, but not in many different worlds, what if in this instance he got inspired by the different races based off those worlds? Because I think from what I remember, the giants from Elbaf, the Tontanas, and the Lunarians are described, and the fishmen in those lore. That's why. So yeah,
but kind of connected. We're talking about with the trees. But before I get into that, are you done talking?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Just to get the context.
But yeah, when you were talking about when Cube brought up like how what if both the Adam and Eve tree, I'm assuming that's what he meant, are closer than we think. I was originally thought they were just separate parts of the world, like opposites, like the North and South Pole, kind of like that. And then there's the trees. But yeah, what if they're on the same island on Elbaf? Like, what if they're both on? I didn't think about that. But yeah, what I was gonna say was, we know where Tequila Wolf starts? What if Tequila Wolf starts and they're trying to make it end at like both trees? It starts in one tree, and then it ends in another tree. And once we get to Elbaf, we see that that's where Tequila Wolf started or something, or they're trying to get the Tequila Wolf to that tree. So I don't know, but I was just thinking about that. We don't know where it starts, right? Or where it's going to end. So
you mean like connecting the Sun Tree Eve and the Adam Tree?
Yeah, they are what makes Tequila Wolf. Because I'm assuming they would be in opposite sides of the world, but then Q brought up they could just both be in Elbaf. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think about that. Because I've always assumed...
I was talking about this Yggdrasil tree.
Yggdrasil tree. Oh, I thought you meant Adam and Eve. Oh, okay.
Tequila Wolf, the bridge starts in Tequila Wolf, and then it's going towards the red line, from what I remember. I think it's going to Marie Joie.
Wait, it starts in what? There's a place called Tequila Wolf at Tequila Wolf? Yeah,
that's the island where the bridge is. It's
I thought the name of the bridge. I thought the name of the bridge was Tequila Wolf.
I thought the bridge itself is the island.
Yeah. Oh,
it is. Oh, yeah.
Basically, think of it like this: it's an island that they extended to a bridge. So it's our Tequila Wolf. Basically, that's the idea. So it became the bridge at the same time, but it's also been an island.
So, Cube, not only do you think there's, I don't know which, the Sunlight Eve or Sunlight Atom tree, whichever one that's on Elbaf, you think there's also an Yggdrasil tree on Elbaf too?
I think the Atom tree might be designed or inspired by the Yggdrasil tree.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really big. We've seen it a few times, that tree. We don't know where it starts and where it ends, but we see that it's on Elbaf. We don't know if it goes under. We know it goes above for sure. What's on top of it?
And it's weird because it's someone, I think it's a Furious Sawyer 7 Mage brought it up years ago when he analyzed the first time we saw Elbaf. We do see in the outskirt of the anime a tree, but it looks weird because you can barely see it, like it's almost invisible. And it had the same stripes as the roots of the Eve tree.
We saw that when we got the Big Mom when she was a kid, when they dropped her off.
Yeah.
I think that's I saw that with Sawyer 7. He pointed that. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, that's great.
Part of me is wondering, and his theory was, what if it's not always visible? And I found that interesting. Because it's true that if it's a massive tree, it's weird we still haven't seen it. Maybe it's how they drew Elbaf, so they're hiding it every time. But I find it interesting every time we can't even tell which one is the Atom tree when we've seen Elbaf.
So it's sad. I'm trying to find it on my phone right now, but I will need to look it up again. I was talking to Kusoland like a while ago already, when we were brainstorming about Tequila Wolf, and we found some myth or legend or whatever that was about a giant bridge that was built to connect two lovers, and at that point we kind of disregarded it because of some things. I don't remember anymore why, but I really like the idea that the bridge is built to connect the Eve tree and the Adam tree, because if Oda like knows about that legend or whatever, I really have to look it up what it was, and maybe I can talk about it next time. Then that would make sense because, right, Adam and Eve like are the first man and woman, so that bridge would connect the both trees that have their names. That would kind of make sense. Why they would do it though, no idea.
Yeah, I love that. And I know one of my older videos where we were first introduced to Lily, like a year ago around this time, I made a video talking about what if Lily and maybe Emu or Joy Boy or someone from a long time ago, from the beginning, like a long time ago, they planted the seeds for the trees. Like one represents Lily or Emu, and the other one represents Joy Boy or someone else or something.
I like that idea.
It would go with like Adam and Eve. They're the first. They planted their seeds.
What if it's ashes? Because in some myths they connect to trees with ashes, and then it connects to spirits.
They connect the trees with ashes?
Yeah.
Ashes? You mean like ashes, like from fire, like people?
Yeah, a lot of witch storylines and stuff like that in myths as well. It's like people put like ashes of one of the loved one on a tree, and then their spirit is connected to that tree. There's always those weird stories like that. I don't have one right now. I can look up for the next. I can look at one of those legends, but I just thought,
Okay.
We just
Dun dun.
dun 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 dun. But
I was gonna say like and subscribe like we do on stream, but I was like,
actually, when it comes to the to go back a bit with the flooding, what I'm really curious about is all those interesting devil fruits that might not be water devil fruit, but they manipulate water, like Smoothie's devil fruit that squeezes liquid out. Crocodiles devil fruit that dries up water. I'm very curious about that. Maybe people desire those powers at a time of a flooding.
Yeah, well, I was considering it too, but with Akiji, like, what if he just freezes everything, or it's too much for him to do, or like, yeah, his power ends up turning into water. What if he's able to like melt, like Luffy's able to like get all steamy, like make his heart pump faster? What if Akiji could do that same thing, and like he makes his water steamy or his ice into steam, and it's just really hot water and all that?
Wait, why would you do that?
Well, because Cube was saying stuff about how some people's powers are kind of connected with water, like, manipulate water, mess with water. Well, Akiji literally has frozen water as his power.
do you Do you think that Aokiji could realistically like avatar himself, cover himself with like a sheet of ice and fall into the sea and be fine?
He's already done it actually in Marineford, if you think about it. When he fell, remember, with Whitebeard? If you look very close in the anime, he turns to ice just before. Then he's able to come back out as an Iceman. It's not 100% what you're saying, but it's close to. That's how he. Remember when he when he fell into the water? That's what he did.
He could probably if it's gonna flood, he could just stop it for temporarily stop it. I don't know. Like, but yeah, like if he thought, I don't know if it's because it's a Luffy thing, like rubber, he bounces his heart. But yeah, like what if Akiji's able to do something similar to his heart and he makes his ice steamy, like melty, like hot water?
What if that's it? What fruit is the ice fruit? Oh.
Yeah, but what if it's heat? What if it's not just water, heat? It kind of makes me think of Magellan's fruit. Remember when he was using his poison, his venom, and he used that special venom, the Hydra one, Kijinte, I think it is, that purple venom, that would basically stop anything blocking it. It would just melt through it. What if, because of the flood, maybe it's like very hot water? I know it's weird to say a flood with hot water, but even Aokiji's ice won't hold it down. It'll just start melting.
Well, with Magellan's fruit, I think he is one of the strongest examples of devil fruits really are only limited by the user's imagination. So I think what Andy's saying is possible if that knowledge is like released to the world. If the world finds out that the only limit to your devil fruit powers is what you can think of. Like plus we've never seen a Logia awakening. Like maybe I know he has the ice fruit, but like maybe part of his awakening allows him to do something like that. I mean, he can literally manipulate an environment. We've seen Punk Hazard, so I don't see that completely out of the cards.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to hijack this now.
Go ahead.
Because a question came to my head that I wanted to talk about anyway, and I forgot about it. Why do you guys think it is that the only type of devil fruit that Vegapunk can copy with green blood is the did I just forgot the word?
Paramecia or
Thank you. I literally forgot the word paramecia just
I
now.
always forget them.
Yeah. So why is that? Why can't he he once made this failure Zoran in his eyes, but Zoran's aside. Why can't he do Logias? What is so special about Logias that he cannot replicate these powers?
I might have.
Because every devil fruit changes the lineage factor, right? Like a Paramecia, like Luffy's, it changes it so that his body can stretch like it's rubber. Well, I say Paramecia in quotes. That's just an example.
Yeah.
But then with Logias, it seems like it changes the lineage factor on such a molecular basis that their entire DNA becomes that element. And I think it's because of the way it changes the lineage factor is the reason he can't pinpoint how to make Logias. Because he's made zones before too, at least one successful one. Okay, not 100% successful because it was pink, but I digress.
But Zoan's side and all that aside, isn't it weird that the devil fruits themselves have like these differences and that one of them is easily replicatable by messing with the lineage factor and just like making this green blood, while Logia on the other hand, there's no way around to like even mimic them or whatever.
Well,
entirely.
Like for example, for a Logia, that would be like Smoker's fruit, right? He is a Logia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would think kind of like what you're saying. Like, yeah, it's like you practically become smoke now. Like you can't get DNA from smoke. Like,
yeah. Oda has explained it in an SBS. It's the best way you can take it. Is Paramecia is just basic superpowers. Zone are animal transformations, and Logias are elemental or natural forces.
That's the thing. That's what I wanted to point out too. Logia are based on elements or things that like naturally occur.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the problem? That
I might have
potentially.
What if it's all about Vegapunk's and the Maz, what able to do, especially Vegapunk? He recreates, and we've seen that he recreated like those sea beasts, but also people, right? If you think about it, which two types of devil fruit connects to people and to animals? Paramecias and Zoan. What if it's basically to recreate those devil fruit abilities? He needs to recreate the same like the same process on how those delta fruit were made. And for some reason, with Logia,
she's outside.
he's maybe not able to recreate nature. It'll always be artificial, and so maybe it's hard to maintain that.
Well, you can't get DNA from nature unless it's an animal, right? Like you can't get a plant's DNA. Like, well, I mean, you probably can, but you guys know what I mean. It's a different type of NA structure. I think it's RNA or something like that.
But you can't
nonetheless,
but you can't get DNA from a jacket either.
That is true. That is true. But with the paramecias, right? It seems like they changed just one certain, like, you know how our DNA structure, what is it, ACGT or something like that? Like there's lettering coded to it.
Yeah.
What if you just have to take out like a T and replace it with this, and that's how a paramecia is made? And same with the zone, because it's DNA from an animal. You just have to take out this one thing and replace it with this. They can transform into an animal. But with the Logia, you have nothing to take out or to replace what you take out with. You can't just be like, shove a leaf in there. You can't like it's and that's why I think it's just so complex on a molecular level to implement nature into the lineage factor.
For me, and so this is one of my things, is I believe the reason why Kaido took forever for his food to be made, while Stussy seems to be done at least 20 years ago, and she already has the power, right? So you have to take into account maybe that's the original Baku's Delta fruit as well. It could be that basically you need live hosts, and there's something about Logia users that is just because we know that he was able to recreate Kizaru's lasers, but not the fruit ability. What if there's something that basically what if it's the power source that he uses? It's more difficult with Logia, It affects Logia, so basically he's not able to recreate at all. So maybe it's like Kizaru, only able to create one function, the lasers, but not the will itself.
I like to picture that Vegapunk did create like a Logia fruit, and when someone ate it, like he was like, this will make you be able to control mud or something like that. And when they ate it, they just turned into a puddle of mud. And he was like, oops.
Yeah, but like also think about this. When the Devil Fruit user that is a Logia type becomes fire, for example, right? If he makes his whole body fire, is there still any lineage factor left at the moment that his whole body is fire? Or has he completely become the element fire, and only when he turns back to his normal form, he gets his lineage factor back? Maybe that's the problem why Vegapunk cannot do anything like that, because it's literally a magical power, right? Like once you become fire, you don't have a lineage factor. You are like hot fire, or you are literally H2O, like water, or you're smoke or whatever.
Or what if this might be? But what if he did it? He's just lying about it. Because if we think about it, now we know Egghead is bugged. What if he lied about it?
No, I
just think about.
I'm sorry, Cube. I'm not trying to cut you off. I think Marth's right. Because it's like your consciousness just transfers into that element. When Sabo becomes pure fire, or Ace would become pure fire, it's like their consciousness it's an extension of themselves. So they just become the element. Or like when Smoker becomes smoke.
Yeah. Verger was like saying like you're just putting yourself everywhere. He was just grabbing random smoke because Smoker was literally just putting his body everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
But then there's that thing, what's his Katakuri? He was a Logia, right?
No,
he is a special paramecia.
Yeah, special paramecia, yeah. Yeah, just a thought that I said, what if we're taking what Vegapunk is saying, but it's not as difficult as he says? Maybe it's much difficult, but it doesn't mean that, because he said it's very difficult to recreate Logia, right? But he never said it's impossible. But what if he actually did manage to at least do one? He just didn't say it.
I mean, it's potential. There's potential for it. He doesn't make zones often, but we know that he's made at least one. Yeah. It could be that the resources to make zones and paramecia types are just so exhaustive that he can't make them very often. I would love to think that he's made at least one Logia as well.
He could have considered it a failure, and it was pink also. Maybe he could have just been something like that, or maybe
it's fire, but the fire's green or something like that.
Yeah.
I just got another brain thought. I
trust you guys. Very interesting is that he's revealed almost every Devil Fruit, but among the Seraphims, but the one of the three that he hasn't revealed the Devil Fruit ability is a Logia user.
Yo,
Crocodile.
The Crocodile, yeah.
We haven't seen what ability it has, and he just said it's difficult, not impossible. So it's just a thought. But I like Mark's idea that when you become that element, basically he doesn't have the capacity to be able to tell DNA because he's an element. There's no DNA with an element, or he's not able to read it.
Am I muted? No.
Is it just me, or is Marth speaking the voice of all things right now?
I don't even hear him.
What? You can't hear me?
Wait.
Hello?
Can Marv, you're speaking or?
Yes,
I can't hear you.
Yeah, his
he
head's
became a
lighting up.
robot.
Can
He's
you hear
becoming
me
a
again?
cyborg.
Hello?
Yeah.
Guys, Marv
Hello,
might have
hello,
facts in One Piece. Emus try to silence Marv, guys.
The government.
Hello?
Great smell,
Hello?
flavor.
Hello?
So listen, well, since Marv is having that, I might pivot to the homework I gave you all, except Lucas, last week. And I'll give a little reminder for those who missed the podcast. What was the idea of the homework is basically I was saying that if you think about it, right now in the story, there's 11 supernovas who seem to be changing the world in a sense, right? For those who forgot, some 11 supernovas are the pirates who are over 100 million berries in Sabaody, so Luffy to Eau Rouge, Captain Beige, Law, etc. But what's interesting is if you look at 50 years ago, so going from Garp, 78 years old, and Kaido, 59 years old, there's at least 15 characters with crazy hockey. Means that they must have gone through like a hockey bloom. So,
hello?
Oh, now we can hear you.
Oh man, I got angry. Like, you guys kept interrupting me, and I was like, what, can't they hear me?
No, we couldn't hear you. That's why. Actually, they could hear. I can hear no sound.
Okay, wait. So
yeah, you
I
were
don't
speaking
know.
poneglyphs for a second.
I don't know how far you advanced. Obviously, my master file misses all of that too. But we have the individual files. But I need to.
I barely started the question. You can still spit. I still haven't started the question.
Good,
I still
because
didn't start it. Don't worry. Go ahead.
I was not done. What I'm gonna say now will be this podcast exclusive, and whenever I make a video about it, because I kept thinking about it while you guys were talking. So I was talking about the zones, right, and how they become nature and all that. And in general, devil fruits are the power of imagination, right? So I would basically say, as you guys pointed out earlier as well, I think Andy was it, when Virgo grabbed just somewhere in the air and grabbed Smoker, and he was like, I could just grab anywhere and I get you, right?
Yeah.
Or however, people that are able to use Haki can interrupt the power of the devil fruit. Haki is the power of reality, and devil fruit is the power of imagination. So he's literally got reality punched. Whoever uses a devil fruit at the moment, he gets punched with Haki, he gets thrown out of his fantastic power because reality catches up to the user in that moment.
Reality hits you in the face.
Yes, and that is why Kaido said probably only Haki transcends all, because once reality brings you back down to earth, you are left with the powers you actually have and not the ones that your imagination grants you.
Just to strengthen your point as well, look what Law did with Haki for his entire crew when Doc Q's sickness made them women. He literally used Haki to disrupt the devil fruit.
Yeah,
think of how Bonnie's food works.
Yeah, so Haki should probably be called reality power, and devil fruit should be called imagination powers.
Yeah, I mean
That's spicy.
yeah, and that's an interesting take. And I'll see that. I'll be very excited when your video drops about it. So you all heard it here. It's an exclusive Nothing Happened podcast, guys.
Yeah, it started here. I will probably I'm already making one that started in the last episode of this podcast. So this one will drop before the Ancient One Piece video I'm making as well, because people, like, not Lucas, he already gave me his part, but everyone else will probably be so late because they are unreliable. Just kidding. So I will have so I have enough time to like probably make another video. So I will probably have like 2 videos before the Ancient One Piece video drops. So yeah, I think that's something worth talking about. But what was the question you were asking when I joined again?
Well, it was just because since we can hear and everyone has had done their take, I was going to go with the homework. And I just started explaining what was the homework. So when you came back, so nowhere. So yeah, so
did you? Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead. No, I was gonna say, can you re-explain what the homework was? You were
so
like,
basically now that I give the context of there's 11 supernovas are changing the world, but if you look at the guys from the previous generation, so from Kaido to Garp, 59 years old to 78 years old, there's at least 10 to 15 people with just not just conquerors, just crazy hockey. And if you like compare to the supernovas, the ratio of levels, like you see the difference between Kid and Luffy, but you see those legends, there is the difference is much smaller. So my question is, what do you think were like Wizard of God Valley or hunting games that we know of 50 years ago? Like, what could have been the events that pushed people like them to have such a hockey bloom?
So
that was the
I
idea.
want to go first because I thought about it. And I want to go first so I can listen to whatever you say afterwards. But my take on this is probably a bit basic and easy, but I think that some big war happened in some part of the world, wherever some of these people came from, because whenever you see pictures of characters that age that Oda drew when they were children, they all looked like they were beggars, and they were going through hard times. Like, for example, the admirals, right? Mm-hmm. They are running around in lumps and all that, and they look dirty, and also Garp, I think, as well. So yeah, my guess is there was some big war in some part of the world that led to these people becoming monsters because they started developing some will to prevent something like that never happening again.
Yeah, it goes close to what I'm gonna say, and I think it's the reason why they kept repeating the East Blue is the most peaceful East Blue. I think specifically, I think East Blue was cleaned up because they had to. I think, you know how we've seen the North Blue in Lost Flashback, and how the North Blue seems to be able to get a lot of stuff in the 10, 15 years ago. I'm wondering if it's, or like Kaido's island, you know, no authority, the Marines just taking people, making deals with the world government, you know, they'll be recognized as at the Reverie and everything. So I'm wondering if like maybe the East Blue was similar to that, and it was just chaotic.
Yeah, we also haven't seen, I agree with you, and we also haven't seen anything beside East Blue and the Grand Line and maybe Germa and Sanji's flashback, which is also an island or a nation that's connected to war. Like, we haven't really seen much about the South Blue or the North Blue or the West Blue. You know what I mean? So maybe one of these, or maybe at several places, and all of these are really ravaged by war and completely destroyed.
Yeah. And yeah. Andy, Lucas, what's your thought on it? I know, Lucas, you didn't prepare anything for the homework, but I think you might be able to spit on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go last. I'm listening to everybody right now.
All right, guys. I have to come out right now and tell y'all, I'm sorry, but I was away for a few seconds. I missed. What were you were asking about? What happened 50 years ago in the hockey boom?
Yeah.
How everybody?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You just missed Martha's take. You just missed Martha's whole take, but okay.
So, okay, let me repeat it for you, Andy.
Thank you.
I said 50 years ago, some big atomic bomb destroyed several islands and many people died. And then they started developing superpowers. Some became like the Hulk and Wonder Woman's everywhere. That's what I said.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. So you're saying this big war, like nuclear stuff, probably caused mutations for people. This reminds me of, I like this. I don't know if it could be, connected to the moon, but I don't know if you've heard of the show Heroes. There was an eclipse, and the people who saw the eclipse gained superpowers. What if there was some kind of moon-related event, maybe an eclipse, a blood moon, and whoever saw it?
I was completely trolling. Like, how can you make something serious out of this?
Well,
like, how can you even take this and cope
It's an
with
actual thing.
Actually, it's funny that you bring up Heroes, because there was something that we could, it's from a different time, but there was a whole concept of a catalyst. Basically, every power has a catalyst, and if you can refine that core catalyst, you're able to recreate powers. The same process. Just a thought. It was interesting.
That's what Simon did, right? No. This isn't a Heroes podcast. We'll stop it.
I can tell you exactly what the catalyst was. What caused the war? It was Shocky quit being a pirate around that time, and all the men were very, very sad.
Yeah, of course. It's 10 years before she even retired, but sure, man. Like, they had future sight. No! Shocky! No! Shocky!
Chucky, no!
But yeah, I'm guessing like
chance to cuff her down.
50 years in the past, in the story, they weren't. I'm guessing there weren't that many devil fruit powers, and I guess not many people hockey bloomed as much either. Like people, they were really rare sight, and like now, like when we're in this, like in today's episodes and chapters, like they're like it's super common to see devil fruit powers. There's more, and now like all the smile users. How many smile users do you think there are in total?
Hold on. Real quick though. So the whole aspect of devil fruits not being common only applies to the 4 blues. Once you're inside the Grand Line, they're all over the place.
Okay. I would still think they're rare. Like what? Like
Because Brooke was 50 years ago, and they talked about his devil fruit like it wasn't a big deal to have one.
really? Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, they are really not
Because
that
they're making
uncommon on
fun
the
of
Grand
him.
Line.
Yeah, because they made fun of him for getting the only useless devil fruit.
Oh, yeah, okay, but so yeah, it's just the 4 blues that are not used to seeing them.
Yeah. I apologize. I didn't mean to derail. What was your question?
Oh, like how many smile users do you think there are? There are like in the thousands, right? Like 50,000, 20,000,
Smile?
5.
Like the gifters and all
The
that?
gifters, yeah.
I
I think it's like 900 or so, or like just over 1,000.
Really?
Do we even know how big the crew of Kaido was, like, photo-wise?
I think so.
It
I'm
was-
gonna Google it.
Yeah, basically just think of it like this. Big Bomb's crew had quality, he had quantity.
Yeah. But okay, like,
Simple as
while you
that.
Google that, like, the smile users aside, I think still that's a very interesting question that Cube brought up there, because why, like, Garp already was strong when he fought at Gold Valley. He already was really big and strong then. So same for Roger and all the legends. Why?
Exactly.
Like, why do people start punching warship bags or whatever they were called again? Like, why are they training so hard? Like, there must have been a reason for them, for Garp. Let's go with Garp for now. There must have been a reason for him to be like, I get so strong that I can undo whatever unrighteousness is brought upon, like the common folk or whatever.
The reason is rocks, my man. Like, think about it. Look at how Garp reacted when he found out Rocks was going to be at God Valley. Like, he was like, "This is my chance."
So,
Like,
good.
it's a
good
simple
point.
answer, but I think it is. Yeah, like
Good point. So basically, Rocks is Garp's Kobe, or other way around.
or yeah, other way around. Yeah, he is. Because I think, actually, if I'm being honest, I think Garp, Roger, and Rocks all knew each other somehow.
Oh really? That's a very
Before-
interesting theory.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you know, I know it's because of though Cube and his persuasion that I think that. Because it just makes too much sense that those three are intrinsically tied together. Maybe like Luffy, Ace, and Sabo are even like sharing sake cups and things like
I'm
that.
gonna help with your spice. Blackbeard, 40 years old. Buggy Shanks, 39 years old.
It's trios.
What's called Sabo, Ace, Kid. They're born around the same time, 23, 22. You ready for this? Garp, 78. Roger, 77. We don't know what ages Rocks is. Could be 77 or 78. The same theme every time. Two of the same age, and one is 1 year younger, 1 year older. Kind of same thing with Kobe, Usopp, and Luffy. Two of them are the same age, but one of them is 1 year younger or 1 year older. So it could fit the theme.
Wait, why Usopp though?
Because Luffy and Usopp are the only ones from that era who was like exactly 18 years old and they are connected.
But they are in the same crew though. Like, I love this. Like, I really love this. But I want you to find someone else that is not a pirate or a marine. It needs to be a ref or maybe he can be another pirate, but not in the same crew.
Or it hasn't been revealed yet. It's just right now there are other people, but if you look at it, it'll just be me reaching. And also don't forget, Buggy and Shanks were in the same crew at one point.
Just so you guys know, Baggy will kiss Shanks, okay?
Just so you know, Rocks is Buggy's dad. The reason we haven't seen him is because he has a big bright red nose. I'm telling you.
What's gonna maybe? But that could be a thing.
Wait,
but
actually, I'm just gonna jump in quickly but Lucas brought up Rocks. But what if it's crazy? But what if there was a Nika sighting? 50 years ago.
I don't know. You know, I'm a big believer that the Gum Gum fruit had other users between Joy Boy and Luffy, but I don't think anyone would have awakened it.
No. What I'm saying is a Nika sighting. Like something happened which maybe prompted the world government to just act on it. Doesn't necessarily mean that Nika and the Gomu came out, you know? But because think about it, it was the fruit that got them scared now. They weren't swing. But what if they were like, you know, they thought that someone might be Nika but never got the fruit thing? And maybe with Luffy, because I would say, what if the Rev's actions have made Luffy invisible for so long that they never really realized what he was doing?
Listen, Oimo and Kashi joined the world government 50 years ago, right? That's when they started blocking the gates. Maybe they were talking, and just because giants are naive, they didn't think what they said had any bearing, but like maybe like the appearance of Nika is coming soon or something. Like how we have in our world, Jesus is coming back soon. People, like they were doing the same thing with Nika, and the world government's like, he's right, we should get ready. The prophecy is at hand.
Yeah.
Then there's also another candidate, Clover.
Clover as well, yeah.
There must have been something with Clover where, you know, he could have educated the people 50 years ago. You know, they could have been like a surge, you know, of people acting, and so they have to act a certain way. But yeah, that's what I mean, a Nika sighting, the more like the legend, more than the actual person.
But with the Buggy is Rox's son thing, like I've heard it from you guys. I said it before in some of my videos. I think everyone said it at some point now. Hidden made a video on it. Like, it's funny to me how everyone, I'm not saying you guys are or Hidden, but it's funny to me like how people are rediscovering this thought, even though it's in the community for so long already. Just because so many people thought like it switched, at least in my opinion, because I'm with you guys. I'm since a long while believing that Buggy is either connected to the Nefertaris or to Rox, and but for some reason people started bringing up that he's connected to Blackbeard, like Rox and Blackbeard are connected, right? But maybe they are, but I don't think that.
It's just the actions. It's just Blackbeard's
Rox's son.
Yeah, it's just the action of Blackbeard are weird.
The way I see it is, Buggy is his son. He's the one who's carrying on his lineage, but Blackbeard is the one that's carrying on his will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always said that, for me, if it's not Rox, his father is a Rox part, because remember Whitebeard, the moment he saw Buggy, he asked him if he was that apprentice of Shanks on Roger's ship, yeah. Then he manipulated him, and then Marco asked him, oh, that was so easy. He said, yeah, well, I had to, or else it would have been hell for us to deal with those kind of antics and his men and the Marines. He seemed to know quite a lot about Buggy.
Yeah,
what if he because he knew the father?
The only thing that really bugs me, because I also want to believe that Buggy is like connected to Rox, but the only thing that really bugs me, and it's weird that not Hidden or anyone else brings this up, is when Whitebeard saw him, he said something along the lines like, what is this red-nosed freak doing here? Or where is this red-nosed freak? Or something like that. Maybe it's the translation issue, but in my opinion, if someone says something like this, then maybe this is the first guy he sees with a red nose. You get what I mean? Like if Rox had a red nose, then Whitebeard should have said maybe rather something like, oh, you look like that dude, or whatever, like, or I've seen a nose like that before, but he literally said something like, man, I have to look up that panel.
Yeah. You think it's for the whole speaking about Buggy and Shanks, who do you think would win in a Davy back fight between them? I was thinking about this whole time, like, oh man, if Buggy and Shanks had a Davy back fight, I feel like maybe Buggy might win, and then he'll get Shanks on his crew or something.
Hey man, listen, I'm gonna remind people what they said when they gave the bounties of all the Yonkos, the previous Yonkos. When they talk about Shanks, they said it's the most well-balanced crew. There's no weakling among them. That's why I would say that's the one I'm scared of. If it's a Davy back fight,
strength doesn't matter in Davy back fights. It's
strength does not matter in a Davy back fight.
And Buggy's crew, they're all like acrobat. They're known for party tricks. They're like they worked in a circus. Like they probably got talents, and they can make games based on their talents.
Mark, just real quick, not to just derail the conversation. If you look in the chat, as we saw in Thriller Bark, there was a lot of zombies from the Rox crew. I think that this zombie was made of parts of Rox.
The hair?
Look at the hair. The nose is red. Like,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look like it's the original nose. But like it
But
would
he has
only
a
make
red
sense.
nose, so yeah.
They could
like
have
that,
carved the nose and made it like pointy. It could have been a circle. Or maybe
Yeah.
So
not.
for
Or it
for
was
the
damaged from battle.
for the people who are listening in, right now we see in the picture of a Jack-in-the-Box zombie. I'm not sure if does this one appear in the manga too, though, or is it because
Yes, it
that's
does.
a picture from the anime? Okay.
Yeah, I
Doesn't-
only used the anime picture to show the coloring of it.
Doesn't
Okay,
Frankie have those kind of eyes too, but not as thick?
Oh, guys,
He has
I
blue
have,
hair.
I have a crazy idea.
56, 256 Gomu, 2 Gomu. I don't know what 2 is. Each ni Gomu.
Guys, I have a crazy idea. So bear with me. It sounds completely crackhead, but so we know that Shanks was celestial, but was found in God Valley, right? In the treasure chest. Okay. What
Yes.
if Shanks was born, celestial and all those stuff? There was a deformity with Shanks, right? And he was born he had red hair and a red nose. And they switched Shanks' nose with Buggy's nose. Like basically since their birth, Buggy has a reason to hate Shanks. Because what does he gets pissed off the most about? His nose that he can't change. I just thought of it because I saw the shading of the nose right now. It looks very similar to Shanks' hair.
Yeah,
No.
but
Just,
we
just
know
a-
who Shanks' father is.
Well,
Realistically,
this Jack is coming out of a box, or this and as deity, this creature is coming out of a box.
Yeah,
Shanks
when I
was
saw
found in
the
a box.
treasure
Maybe
chest,
Buggy
yeah,
was found in a.
exactly.
Maybe Buggy was found in a box too. We don't know where he was found.
yeah.
No, it's just saying that what if the deformity comes from his mother? It's not because of Garling. The nose is his mother's. Like Usopp's nose is from his mother.
How would
That
they have
is-
switched his nose though, without the op fruit?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, maybe they had someone with the op fruits who died in God Valley. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they must have had an ability or something. Obviously, I'm not saying that they did the surgery. I think it has to be the op fruit or a fruit similar to that. That would enable you to transfer. Yeah, of course, with the fruit. Just a thought. Because the shading,
Yeah.
dude, look at it.
But what
It is-
Andy? Hold on 1 second, Andy. What you said about what did you just say? It was about the zombie. Oh my
The
goodness!
zombie that it looks
Jack
like
in the
Frankie
box.
256 Jack in the
No,
box.
no,
It was
the
found in a
box,
box.
yes,
the box.
it's
Buggy
in the
and Shanks
treasure
were both found
chest.
in.
Yeah.
They were both found in the chest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both found
And
in
then,
the
they
chest, exactly.
Could connect to the Figurelands or to Zebek, the chest.
Well, actually,
Mhm.
the Buggy one's interesting because we know he's at God Valley because of that SBS where they, before the movie One Piece Red came out. But if you look at it, Shanks is the one we know was found on the treasure chest. He was the one talking about it. But we knew Buggy was there because there was a laugh behind it with the people. And that was Buggy's laugh, his unique laugh. So people always said that, so they were all found in God Valley. But the one we know was found in the treasure chest is Shanks. So that's why I'm very curious on how did they find Buggy if he wasn't inside the treasure chest?
Also, normally, I guess Jack in the Boxes. That's I guess what this thing's based off of. Are known to be clowns also, like
Yeah.
Buggy's a clown, Buggy the clown.
Yeah, man. The
Interesting
It's just
Jack
a
in the
thought.
Box picture. Yeah, y'all need to
Yeah.
check out this picture. It's actually pretty fascinating looking at it.
I do have to give credit to Mr. Bushido because me and him were talking about Buggy being Rox's son, and he is the one that brought that picture to my attention.
yeah.
Yeah, like
But
I
yeah,
said,
it's kind of what sold me on the whole point of it because I'd heard everyone's theories about it and stuff. And like Mark said, it was in the community for a long time after Rox's whole thing, and then the crown jewel of Hachinosu. But yeah, that picture and seeing all the other members of the Rox Pirates in Thriller Bark, it's too much.
But I love this. But what bothers me is why would Zebek be used in some fodder thing like that? I feel like that's disrespectful to Zebek. I feel like this could just be foreshadowing, like a cover story with some random messaging, like subliminal things. Like this could just be like that. Like this could just be foreshadowing. Like we put the pieces together, the clues. But yeah, it's like why would they waste such a good test subject or specimen for this fodder chest monster? 256.
Maybe there weren't enough pieces of him to have him as a full specimen.
That too, yeah.
Maybe
Well,
the body was too damaged.
I'm gonna say this. This is my list of who could be the possible. It's gonna be rocks on the way Whitebeard appeared. This is my list of possible father for Buggy. Obviously, number 1 is Rocks. Number 2 is Captain John on how he keeps being obsessed with the treasure. And number 3 is because I analyzed the rocks to see if there was one of them we know that acts similar to Buggy, and there's one of them that actually parallels a lot Buggy in some ways. Shiki. They both escape impel down in a similar manner by separating their legs from their body. They both had this ability to amass a large group of people, and the hair thing post time skip of Buggy is very reminiscent of Shiki in Strong World. So I said that there could be some, or it could be that Buggy inherited Shiki's will. You know, if you can do and inherit someone's will, if the person's still alive. You know, but yeah, it's interesting. If you look back at his episode 0 and what we know about Shiki, how he escaped Impel Down, it's very similar to what's interesting is he is sent to Impel Down after Roger. Buggy is sent to Impel Down before Luffy. Like they parallel one another. And the next Yonko that Shiki meets in the story in episode 0 is Whitebeard. The next Yonkos that Buggy interacts with after escaping Impel Down is Whitebeard. Directly.
Those are nice parallels, but
Yeah.
like I don't know if maybe it could connect like
Yeah.
to Buggy and Shiki being related, or they could just be Oda just putting parallels together.
It could also be that they have a similar will, inherited will thing as well. He's the Shiki of that era. But yeah, but I love the Rocks and Buggy thing because I prefer Buggy for Rocks more than Shanks or Blackbeard because of how he interacted with them, Whitebeard with them. It made sense for Buggy more.
Okay, I found it. It's chapter 559. And Whitebeard just convinced Buggy to let his men fight on his side, right?
Yeah.
And afterwards he can have his body, right? Or something like that, or he can kill him. And then Pineapple Guy Marco says that man, sure, it's a simple one. And Whitebeard says, I don't know about that red nose, but the convicts on his side are reasonably strong. So that's the thing that bothers me, what I meant earlier. I don't know about the red nose. Like,
yeah, you're right on that thing.
I mean, maybe it's just a translation thing or whatever, but it sounds like if he knew someone with a red nose, like, wouldn't he have pointed it out? Like, wouldn't he have said something like, that dude sure reminds me of Rocks or something like that?
But was Rocks even a concept in the story yet at that point?
Yeah, because of Blackbeard's ship. When we got it in Jaya.
The Saber of Sebek, yeah.
Yeah, his name was already revealed in the story. Because you have to take into account the moment Blackbeard came into the story, it could be that's when he started thinking of the Xebec storyline, because I'm sure Blackbeard's storyline is going to parallel Xebec's storyline in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe in reverse, but still.
Okay.
And
Sorry,
he could have even said, what about that red nose? And I don't know about that red nose, even hinting at his distrust and captured Rocks as a person in general.
But I see Marv's reservation, and they're valid, Marv.
Yeah.
They're not tainted. No pun intended. No pun intended.
Yeah.
It was intended, but okay.
So I don't know if I derailed whatever you were talking about because I had to go down to our neighbors because they were playing loud music. But good news.
I didn't hear nothing.
The girl, that's good, but probably on my recording it will be heard, but I guess we can filter that out maybe. But the good news is she also told me that they will be gone soon, like they have a new apartment or whatever. So hey, so good.
Don't worry. I think my side is going to be very hectic. There was a piece of paper that just fell next to my mic 10-15 minutes ago, and I wasn't talking, and I just saw flutter in my Audacity, so it's gonna be very funny for the editing.
Damn. Okay.
So I listened. Since we have the discussion, I think we had a nice discussion. I think it would be nice to have a certain discussion that Andy last time didn't have time. So I think we still have time to talk about Bonnie's abilities.
I would love to talk about it. I've been wanting to since last podcast.
Yeah, you've been waiting. You've been patient, bro. Yeah. So go ahead.
But I don't know if we'll have time. But yes, if we do, I'll go on. But yeah, last time we saw Bonnie use her power, she's like, let me have a giantish future. And she became a giant. And then she was like, oh, another time, let me have a Nika-ish future. And then what was the one she said she wanted to have when she was a kid, or same age, when she left Sorbet Kingdom and she attacked supposed Khalifa's mom? She said she wanted a supposed something future. I forgot what.
Yo.
It was another Nika. Oh, okay. It was another Nika. I'm in the flashback. That happened when she hit Khalifa's mom. Okay.
While you're talking, I'm gonna check the chapter, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Keep on talking. I'll
But yeah,
clarify
like
with you in a
there's
second.
there could be other things she could do. I'm guessing like what is that? Can I have a Lunarian-ish future? Can I have a Pirate King-ish future? A Pirate Queen-ish future? Can I have a Joy Boy-ish future? She could just say stuff like that. Can I have a Emu-ish future? Can I have a?
I think she can. Yeah.
She could say any of that, and she could.
In that aspect, I agree with you. Like that power is pretty broken, right?
She just
like,
has to believe. Like if she believes Emu's almighty and powerful, she could just say, "I want," or the Pirate King is almighty powerful. She could say that, "I want a Pirate Kingish future." But if she doesn't think like, "Oh, they're weak" or "They're not real," there was never a Pirate King, or there's no, it's not as strong.
What if it's similar to the Scarabs in Wano versus Kaido and Yamato with Oden? You believe so hardly that you basically like embody that person. The Scarabs literally together embody that, like Kaido sensed Oden attacking him.
No problem.
No worries.
I gladly take over. So I think she can get whatever power she can imagine, but she has to see or understand what these powers can do, because
Check.
she had like she said, "Give me a Nikkei power" already when she punched that sexy nurse there. I forgot the name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and she hasn't seen Luffy back then, right? So she knew that Nika had the powers of a rubbery body from that book. So
the book said that Nika had a rubbery body.
Yeah, either the book or some tales. That
it was Kuma, I think, told her about it.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I think she has to know what the abilities are. If she didn't know about it, and she would have said like, "Give me a Nikkei future," probably not much would have happened, because otherwise her powers would be really broken.
Yeah.
I think it kind of ties into what I was saying earlier about devil fruits. It's really the user's imagination that limits it. Because she had the imagination of a child, she was able to envision a future where she could do that.
Yeah.
And then once she saw what Nika was actually like, she was able to envision herself even more clearly as Nika.
Yeah, I really like that.
I think it's really the mind of it's about manifestation. Like, if you think about it, what's the fine line between manifestation and being delusional? You know what I mean? Manifesting something and being delusional, deluded to think you are that. You know what I mean? Like, the best example is manifesting like DT traits and actually believing you are a god. Those are two different things, you know?
Yeah.
So it could be that could be the fine line in the world of One Piece, you know? Is that people who are actually that deluded, maybe, you know, gave me a Nikkei-ish future, depending on what she sees it is to have a Nikkei-ish future, it becomes that, you know?
And she saw the Gorosei fight. She said, "Can I have a Gorosei-ish future?"
Yeah. It also goes it fits with for those who can't see right now, but Lucas's profile picture is what Rob Lucci saw when Luffy punches him in the anime. Mm-hmm. It could be that, you know, perception. If you believe seeing Luffy as this tyrant, when you say "give me a Luffy-ish future," you might be like this a Luffy version, but like the nightmarish, more like Nightmare Luffy. Than, you know, the goofy Luffy that we keep seeing.
Yeah, it's in the eye of the beholder. It's like some see him as a warrior in white, a savior, and others see him as a white demon. Like it's both Kaido and Lucci saw him like that.
Yeah.
And it could even go even further than that it's Nika's powers that do it, because it's Luffy. He wants to look rough and able to sorry, my daughter just tried to come in.
No, don't worry.
But he wants to look, you know, intimidating to his foes, so that is what his Nika form looks to. Because like Kaido saw like a kid, like if I saw Luffy transform, I wouldn't think that's his own transformation. It just looks like an awakening. But Kaido, what he saw, he was like, that's definitely a transformation. That is someone else standing in front of him.
Yeah.
It also explains the red hair pirates, those who didn't know Luffy. Think about it. They're part of the red hair pirates. Yet, because of the stories they've heard, they were terrified. Calling him a demon.
Exactly.
Which is weird when you think of who your crew is. So it could be that what people saw, and it could be that in the newspaper we never saw the details, but some like firsthand, people who were like witnesses, who told the stories, just feel it different. It's a bit, when a kid, Lucas, best example, you just said, it's like if one of your kids comes one day to you and tells you a story that happened today. Obviously, when you'll see your wife, she'll tell you the story, and it's not as big as, it's just because emotion.
The kid makes it,
embellishes it. This could explain, because a lot of stuff goes back to kids. It could be that the more you have
well, think about what Bonnie said on Egghead Island, not to cut you off, but like, she straight said to Luffy when she first sees him again, she's like, what was that on your bounty poster? So maybe she sees Nika as he truly is.
Yeah, exactly. That's very interesting, because I've always said it's weird, because I always said the Blackbeard pirates, and I'm sorry, don't cancel me, but they are, I think, the ugliest crew ever. But if you look between pre-time skip and post-time skip, some of the members, they get more and more like deformed,
Dude, what are you talking about? Katarina Devon is gorgeous.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. She leaves me breathless.
Yeah. Okay.
Same.
Yeah, okay.
Plus, you can take the form of whoever you want.
I'm sorry. You will not defend him. Vasco shot. I am sorry. He should be Miss Ugly. Miss Ugly Universe.
They're definitely the most pirate-like pirates we have seen in the series.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, what if it's because of the reputation affects it, And same thing as, how some people see Luffy. What if we're seeing it through the eyes of everyone else? Like, think about it. What did Luffy say? Blackbeard's despicable. What do we see? A despicable crew. Because we're seeing through the lens of Luffy and his crew.
Well, I'm sure that at some point we will learn about the reasons of the world government and the reasons of Blackbeard. And maybe we will come to some ethnic problem that we will be like, man, they actually have good reasons. And then we will be like, who should I vouch for? Like, all of them have a point. Like, if Oda can pull that off and we really feel like sympathy for the world government or Blackbeard as well, then that would be very interesting.
Arrest me now if that's the case.
Yeah, but I like usually. I mean, I don't want to say I don't want to be that guy, right? But I am that guy. I'm the dude that always ends the fun, and we are already like an hour 30 in almost. So I don't feel like we should stretch episodes out more than the usual length. So I would suggest we stop right here. It was definitely a great pleasure to have you here, Lucas. So tell the people again where they can find you if you want, and maybe something you're working on.
I'm Strawhat Lucas, the captain of the Last Ark. So you can find me over on the Last Ark YouTube channel. And I drop my theories on the Din Cushy channel. But wait, there's a third channel. That's right, my own channel, where I am now doing content called Rambling Addiction, and I'm going to be doing some chapter reviews as well. Very much trying to get that growing and getting some more viewers over there. Rambling Addiction is a series where I give my open thoughts, and it's unscripted. I have bullet points, and I just kind of ramble at the camera. It's a good time. It seems to be doing pretty well for how small of a channel I am, so I'm very proud of it. And what's coming up, really, the gear piece. If anyone has been following me and the Last Ark and stuff, we had a stream with Dak Sake where we went over Long Ring Long Land together, and I was preaching the good word of the gear piece. Well, I am finally finishing that theory, and it will be dropping on Din very, very soon. So yeah, look forward to
amazing. That. Yeah. I watched some of the Rambling Addictions already. Pretty cool. Like, kind of reminded me of Tekking, actually. So that's a compliment there.
Thank you.
So the other two guys, like, I don't need to introduce or whatever. Again, like, they are cooking. Andy's cooking. I know he's doing something. Cube's always cooking. Like, if you guys want, just join my Discord or the Last Ark's Discord or any Discord. You will find Cube somewhere, and he's always cooking. I promise you. So thank you guys for being here again today. And also to our listeners, please like, subscribe, share, comment, do whatever. whatever benefits us.
And guys,
and
remember.
see you next time, guys.
Yeah, and also remember, very important. Act like nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing happened. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.